Alrighty, what's up, everyone? Today we're gonna go through our Facebook group. So for those that aren't in it, it's also a main project, free Facebook group. You can jump in there, ask any questions you want. And today we're gonna go through some of those questions and answer them for you. As always, feel free to jump in the chat, ask any questions you have. Try keep it as we can on the topics that we go through. But if we have time, we'll go through your questions anyway. Alrighty. Let's get started. How
Yes,
you been, Alex?
dude, I've been fucking great because you can't see it now. So, but the weather here has gotten so good, and I was getting this like fucking winter depression and shit. But now it's been like 20 plus degrees and sun and shit, and day game has been fucking amazing. So yeah, man, I'm very fucking good actually, very good.
Bro, I'm looking forward to Europe. It's been getting cold here, man. It's like raining and shit. We had like one good day actually on the weekend. It was good, but yeah, it's been. I'm ready to come to Europe.
Yeah, man, it's time to get the fuck out from Australia now. But dude, I definitely want to spend my next winter in Australia. Like, what am I?
Yeah, it's in Australian summer, Europe winter. Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck am I doing here in the winter? It's fucking shit.
That's a good question. What the fuck are you doing there in the winter?
No idea.
Zero gang, let's go, bro. Vic he's always
Yeah, man. He's
like
he's
first
always here. Yeah,
he's the best.
He's the most dedicated.
He is. He's very ultimate.
By the way, have a look in the chat, Mark. I saw a video that I thought could actually be like very good to react to.
Which chat?
On Facebook. There is a Hinge date Infield breakdown from Todd V from 2 days ago.
Okay, sweet. All right, well let's get through these questions. Then if we have some time, we'll go through it. Otherwise, we can maybe stream this weekend and go through it.
Yes.
All right. I'm currently chatting with a girl on Tinder who is down for booty massage, etc., but later mentioned she'd like to get to know me better first. I responded that I'm open book and willing to share whatever information she's interested in. Her follow-up question was, haha, okay, so who are you? So how would you respond to the who are you?
Okay, well, so what I'm thinking here is, so essentially she's down to fuck, but she needs to get to know you so she can rationalize that she knows you before fucking you. I mean, here the move would be to just go with some like I would go with non-sexual DHVs. Like I would actually bring up some of like my non-sexual value points. So for example, if it was me, I would probably talk a bit about my lifestyle, what I do for work, you know, my travels, like that kind of stuff. That is probably the direction where I would take that. But I guess it does depend. It does depend a little bit on the girl as well. I feel like if you would do that with some of the girls here in Poland, for example, I think they would get a little bit insecure. Like they would think like, oh, he's trying to brag, kind of shit. But essentially, like everywhere else, that's what I would do.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think like as you said, a lot of girls, if you give them this proposition, then even if they want to, there's a large proportion of the girls that just don't want to be needy, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna do this shit of like, I need to get to know you. So it's fine. It sounds like a good situation here.
Yeah.
All right. How would you respond? Sorry, I'm just reading Vic's message here. How would you respond when a girl says, "What do you do? What do you do when you run out of messages to copy and paste?"
I ask
Vic, you copy and paste
new messages.
Exactly.
That's what you tell her, bro. You tell her, I go on Alex's live stream and I just copy paste another fucking message that he sent yesterday. That's what you tell her. But jokes aside, in terms of like an actual response, I would probably say something like I would try to make it funny. Like I would try to make it funny. So I would be like, oh fuck, I don't have a prepared copy paste for this question or something. That's probably what I would say.
Yeah, I'd also question why she's asking that, right? Like, if you are actually just copy and pasting a bunch of shit, there might be something that she's noticing here. Like perhaps she's asked you a question or she's commented something and you showed zero calibration. You just like sent the next message that like made no sense. If it's a sext, maybe again, it doesn't feel personalized to her or whatever it might be. So you need to think about that. All right, let's read this. Hey guys, new dude here. All right, welcome, new dude. Me and my mate is having fun of kissing girls in bars lately, but we haven't managed to get the girls out from the bar with Uber to come with us. What we do? I talk good about my friend's exclusive flat. Oh, very nice flat. And we're having more drinks there, watching a movie, etc. But haven't worked so far. I've got some theories as to why. Number one, we're a bit too logical when suggesting coming with us and try to convince them logically to agree and leave the bar with us. Maybe we should just stand up and physically leave and assume the girls will follow us. Number two, we're kissing them too much and they already got too much from us already. Lol. What is your thoughts on this and how to pull girls most effectively? Happy Easter. This is
well, actually, I know who asked this question. It's a Swedish guy. The thing with the thing in Sweden, you have to be pretty direct. So what I'm thinking here is that okay, you might be kissing them and shit, but I still think the intentions might not be super clear, right? So reading this, like I don't know because I haven't seen your interaction, but it sounds like you haven't sexualized. So you haven't actually given her like a reason to fuck you if you haven't displayed sexual value. So now you're just kind of hoping that like the makeout and all the other non-sexual shit that I did was good enough for her to fuck me. But I don't think that's very reliable. So if this is like a recurring situation, then I will want to look at your sexualization. Actually, I will want to find ways to throw out some very explicit sexual value in a calibrated way. Because that is something a girl is really going to hook on. That is what I would say. What I would say in that scenario. Yeah. So I mean, essentially, you're trying to pull for drinks and watching movies. Bro, Swedish girls are open. They're very open. You don't have to pussyfoot around it with we're gonna have drinks and watch a movie. Like, you can go very direct. And I think you're actually shooting yourself in the foot by not doing that. Because another part of it as well is that these girls, they're not fucking retarded. They know what you're trying to do. And it just comes across pretty fucking weak when you're, let's say, you're pulling with, well, let's say you're softening down the pull by going with like the drinks and watching movies and shit. Whereas if you would pull them for explicit sexual value, then I think they would be far more likely to go with you.
Yeah, I agree here. You also need to ask why, right? Like you're offering this movies and whatever. Like, what are they actually fucking telling you? Like, what is the excuse they're actually giving? That's going to be a huge important thing here. Never, guys, just stand up and try leave and just assume the girl's going to follow you or some shit without implying anything whatsoever. So it's like, yes, you need to have that value there, but you also need to be asking why, right? Like it's the girls, by the way, even if you do exactly what Alex says and you have the right approach, there might just be a reason why they're not wanting to come with you. So it's important.
That's a good point. They haven't figured out the objection. We don't know the objection here. It's a good point.
Okay, next one. I contacted this girl. She said she'd pull up. I wasn't in any position to have anyone. Haven't worked. Don't have shit. So I told her everything about me.
I wasn't in any position to have anyone. What is he talking about?
I don't know. Let's find out. So I told her everything about me and just asked her to be my friend. I always rejected her and was mean. She was very pretty. I don't think she understood my reaction, and I don't either. She never reciprocated anything I did. I asked her for 2 months to leave me alone. She got money. What the fuck is this guy going on about? All right, we're gonna...
dude, that's too weird. I don't understand anything.
Is there a guide anywhere on how to pull from backpackers hostels? Stuff like which hostel to choose, if it's absolutely necessary to book a single room, etc. Logistical and best practices. All right, Alex, you've done
okay. Yeah, man, I've done some backpacking and shit. So, look, you absolutely do not need a single room. That is like the biggest misconception. You do not need a single room. The girls who are staying in these hostels, a lot of them, they will be down to fuck in a room that is full with people. They don't give a fuck. Even if you're sharing the room with like 16 or 32 other people or whatever, typically they don't care, and if they care, there's not a problem. Take them to the showers, literally. So no, you absolutely do not need a single room. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, long story short. I mean, the girls who are staying in those hostels, you're going to be very, very open, especially if you go into like a party hostel. Like, it's the easiest shit ever. It is absolutely stupid how easy it is.
Yeah, look for a hostel that is going to be a little bit more party. There's going to be different types of hostels depending on the city you're going to. So try to find like a very young party-oriented hostel. And yeah, you don't need a single room. Ideally, yeah, I get one. But yeah, dude, showers. I've fucked in like they have like prayer rooms and shit like that. Yeah, dude.
Which religion?
No, it's just a prayer room. So they had like a crucifix in there as well, but it's like just a multi-religious prayer room. Like whatever your religion is, you can go in there. So my religion,
I hope you fucked your missionary, man. I hope you really did.
Yeah, my religion was sexual satisfaction, right? So I felt like I was allowed to go in there. And yeah, dude, they had it open at night. So I was like, all right, let's just fuck in here. It was like perfect. There's so much room. So that's another option. I've just also fucked in the like multi-bedded places. All right. So that's what you can do. Let's go to the next question. What is a good response to when a girl asks you to be her sugar daddy in a flirty way?
I don't know if I've ever had that.
Yeah, where are these girls asking you to be a sugar daddy? Like,
yeah,
if you're in Dubai or like seeking arrangements, then you're asking for it. I don't think there's a real good way to answer this whatsoever. It's going to depend on the context. Like, if the girl is just challenging you a little bit and it's kind of a joke, then yeah, you want to float back and put her in a place a little bit, right? Otherwise, if you are on like seeking arrangements or some shit, or you're into like, you're better off just finding another girl that isn't looking for like an exchange, or there's a very low probability that you can try turn this around and maybe say like, yeah, I'm going to be a sugar daddy. I'm going to give you the most orgasms you've ever had in your entire life. And instead of offering money for sexual pleasure, but most of these girls that are in an exchange mindset are there to work. And so that it's going to be difficult to turn that around.
But if that's like a common occurrence, then I will be questioning a lot what I'm doing.
Wondering what's the best way to handle her non-compliance with escalation when, number one, she doesn't respond to the escalation, but she'll respond to DHVs. Number two, she responds, but in a way that is changing the subject.
Well, that's not very specific. How does she not respond? What's your escalation? Like, there's not enough info to really answer this question. Like, what do you mean by respond? Like, there's way too little info here. How is she responding to DHVs? Like, I don't know anything. It's very...
I'm assuming... Yeah, look, I'm assuming this is like sexual escalation. This happens a lot with students, right? They sexually escalate. The girl may respond to DHVs, which I assume he's saying like, oh yeah, I'm talking myself up. The girl's responding to that, but then he goes to touch her. He goes to talk about sex, and like she's changing the subject here. So you need to, like, number one, go with like a slow escalation in that point, right? So instead of just out of the blue being like, so hey, you want to be tied up and fucked, right? You might want to start with, hey, you had a boyfriend before. Oh, what was it like? What are you into? I think this is the type of guy you like, and slowly build it up. And then when it comes to like physical escalation, again, don't be sitting there on a date or a night game and then all of a sudden like try to just randomly like touch this girl. You want to actually get it to a point where your subcoms are very sexual, like the no touch subcoms. You want to be holding a lot of eye contact, gazing, smirking a little bit, like playfully, like you could start using a word to you like, hey, don't fucking look at me like that. You get a little bit closer before you start any form of touch. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if he's talking about touch, yeah, but fuck, that is such a, because there's so many different ways that I could play out. Because let's say if you're doing something physical, like, what does a response from the girl even look like? Like, if you touch her, like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's escalation is like, but if he like grabs her hand, like, what is her response gonna be? She grabs her hand back, like, it is just so vague. Yeah, we'll move on. But that was like, guys are asking these questions, you gotta give some fucking context. Like, we shouldn't have to sit here and like fucking decipher what you mean. Anyways,
True.
we'll move on.
I found out recently that pretty much all STIs can be transmitted orally. From the book, she comes first. Now I'm paranoid about having oral sex, giving and receiving. If I'm seeing a girl non-exclusively, how do you deal with this? Do you ask the girl when was the last time she'd been tested and then trust her that she's telling the truth? Using a condom, dental dam for oral just seems pretty weird to me.
Yeah, I think the girl wouldn't like that either. If you're putting on a fucking dental dam, she would feel so like disrespected and disgusting. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, look, I think it's worth the risk, straight up. I'll take the risk.
Let me clarify here, okay? This isn't correct. I found out recently that pretty much all STIs, that's not true, okay? Some STIs can be transmitted orally. The serious ones that you're actually worrying about, things like Hep C or HIV, are not going to be transmitted orally. So that you don't have to worry about. Things like chlamydia, yes, that can be transmitted orally, but it's a very low risk, right? It's a super low risk compared to actual penetrative sex of transferring anything orally. And so, yeah, if you're eating out the girl, you might get chlamydia of the throat, like a throat infection that you'll need to treat with antibiotics the same way that you would treat like tonsillitis, essentially. So the risk here is relatively low. And if you do get one of these STIs that's transmitted orally, typically they're very treatable, except something like herpes, like HSV. But even with HSV, 90% of you motherfuckers have HSV1, which is like oral herpes, like cold sores. You've had that before, and it's probably laying dormant within you. And I think I forget the stats. I'll need to check. It could be like up to half people in the population have HSV2. So these are not things that I'd be particularly worried about. Most of the times when you go to the doctors and you're actually asked to be tested, a typical practice is to advise you just not to test because there's like nothing you do about it anyway. So yeah, as Alex said, it's pretty fucking weird. It's very difficult to pull up like a sheet of plastic to put over a pussy as you lick it. A lot of girls are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So in this case, yeah,
I mean, it's just
I take the fucking risk. Yeah, I take the fucking risk.
Holy shit! I mean, just imagining a fucking like a PUA pulling out like like plastic foil that you like put over your food or some shit and just like I don't know.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, making out you can get diseases from. I mean, you're gonna stop making out. Speaking to people, you can get disease from. You're gonna stop speaking to people. You need to draw the line somewhere. I think using a condom for penetrative sex is a fairly reasonable compromise here. But yeah, going to this extreme, I wouldn't particularly bother.
Like I think it's fucking like we just came out of COVID, and you're worried about getting like a fucking I don't know. It's very interesting. I found it very interesting.
All right, native speakers. What does "I'm on a mission tonight" mean? Is that a way of saying she's an escort? Or does that just mean she already has plans? This girl is from London, in case that's an expression there. So can I be honest? Yes, I would completely ruin you. I believe you, but I'm on a mission tonight. Sorry. All right, how would you interpret this, Alex?
I would ask her what her mission is. We don't have to sit. We don't have to sit here and play a fucking guessing game. We could just ask her.
No, what's your mission? By the way, it doesn't mean that she's an escort. I don't know where you got that interpretation. A mission just means you've got something to do, right? Like
maybe she's bathing.
Yeah, but it's usually like you've got plans. You've got like a task. You've got something to do. So yeah, I don't know what her mission is. I don't know what she's up to. You could just ask.
Maybe she's looking for a nice guy to tie up tonight. That's her mission.
Exactly. Are there any guys particularly experienced with using a magic wand? Any wisdom to making your experience amazing? More specifically, how do you use it during penetration? Best positions to use it in, setting to use, etc.
Oh yeah, I think the G-spot fingering is really good at the same time as using that vibrator. So essentially, like the motion that you do when you're gonna get a girl to squirt, it's pretty similar to like a dumbbell row actually. But yeah, I think that is like the perfect combo straight up. For most girls, it's gonna be different. Like some girls, they're gonna want like only the clit, right? But most girls, from experience, they like it when you do the G-spot fingering at the same time when you got the wand.
Yeah, so Steezy said, what are a few keys to getting a girl to squirt? So number one is like always going to be mindset, right? you need, she's going to feel an urge to like pee. Like that's how it feels. So you're gonna have to make her feel comfortable with that fact. So put a towel down, let her know that you're trying to make her squirt, let her know that she can relax, like bear down as you're doing it. Like these are super important before it comes to technique. But then when it comes to technique, as Alex said, it's like a dumbbell roll essentially. So kneeling next to her, having your shoulder over your elbow, over your hand, over your wrist, and making like a Spider-Man essentially formation with your fingers.
Yeah.
You insert them in, and then you want surface area. So as you go up on the wall, you might need to curl your fingers a little bit or keep them a bit more straight or move the angle, but you want to be hitting the entire wall. You pull up, push down, pull up, push down. You slowly get faster and faster until she squirts. So it's like a very simplistic explanation. But when it comes to the magic wand, to answer that question, for those that don't know, it's like a big fucking vibrator, right? And the great thing about it is because it's so big and there's a lot of vibration that goes through it, you don't have to be very specific in your aim. You can fucking throw it anywhere. Even if you put it right above the clit, it's still going to vibrate enough.
You can put it like a stomach. It's that strong, yeah.
Legit. So when you're using this, some good positions are in missionary where you're like sitting back on your knees. So there's actually room. Any position that leaves room for the clit is going to be perfect. So missionary, you're sitting up, is going to be great. Or if you're standing up and she's like on the bed and you got like her legs up on you, that's also great. Also, you could do doggy as she holds it. That can be another method. But typically missionary is going to be amazing for this. And you simply just hand it to her. You take her hand and you say, put this on your fucking clit. Right? So now she holds it exactly where she wants. And then you tell her, hey, if you want that faster, you let me know, okay? Like, you don't fucking touch it. You don't put it faster. You let me know first, okay? So you can have this, like, dominant energy as you're doing it. She's going to hold it there. You can fuck her. It's going to be amazing. And you can also implement some things like orgasm denial. So even tell her, like, listen, you're not allowed to come until I tell you. You have to beg for it first. This is a great technique you can actually use with the magic wand. So hopefully that helps.
You know, I think a lot of guys, they fuck up the squirting fingering technique by like using the wrong muscles, so they actually fatigue before they're able to have created enough buildup. So like a lot of guys, they will like pull with their fingers or like their forearms, which are pretty weak muscles, right? But what you want to do is exactly as if you're doing like a dumbbell row in the gym. Like you actually want to be like angled like right above her, and you're actually pulling with your back muscles, because it's going to take much longer for those to fatigue.
Duckman, what if I don't want to eat pussy? What should I say to not sound rude and not offend her and still fuck her? Okay, maybe unpopular opinion, but man the fuck up and eat her pussy, Duckman. Okay, like what's wrong with you, man? You like got a phobia of like vagina or something? Like I don't know, eat her fucking pussy. Like if you're not used to the taste or smell, right, then you can start by like using flavored lube or use some coconut oil or something. It's gonna make it more palatable for you. But over time, like I fucking love the taste of pussy right now, right? Like you're gonna learn to like
acquired taste. That's the thing. Like the first time you're not gonna like it, but it's an acquired taste. Really, like you have to be like in the mindset of like a wine connoisseur or something. It's like an acquired taste. You know, it gets better over time. But look, I know a lot of guys, they don't like to eat pussy, and it's simply because they're not very attracted to the girls they're pulling. So it could also just be pull hotter girls, and you're not gonna mind.
Steezy, what do you mean by up and down? Yeah, literally, like this is a pussy. You're going up and down. So like hitting the top of a pussy, hitting the bottom of a pussy is what I mean by up and down.
Don't do the back and forth thing.
Yeah. Next question. Has anyone ever done speed dating? And if you do, what do I expect? I'm 27 years old and found a speed dating event nearby. It is for 25 to 45-year-olds. Any advice on what I should do to be prepared for and any conversational topics? Have you ever done speed dating, Alex?
I've never done speed dating, no.
Okay, I've been
but I'm thinking like DHVs. And that would be like the most crucial, like early on.
The thing you need to realize here is that most of these events are catered towards not the most desirable women. Okay, there's not going to be like this hot 26-year-old there that is like skip the club and gone to some like speed dating event. So most of these girls aren't going to be as desirable as you think, and most of them are going to be like looking for a very serious relationship. So it's not the most ideal demographic, but if you're the type of guy that's like never done cold approach, never been on a date with a girl, these things are great to actually give you just some experience, right? They put you in front of women and it's like really great to like practice some of your social skills. So if that's the aim of it, then fucking go for it. Do it. Now, what I've found is the best way to actually run these events is not worry so much about the allocated time that you have, but rock up earlier and just start chatting to everyone, right? Because everyone's going to get to this event and be waiting around. If you're the one that actually just goes up and you just start like literally cold approaching, that is a great way to actually get these girls' details, numbers, and actually like set something up. Because the allocated time isn't that much and you lose points of confidence because it's set up. So doing that's super helpful. Like waiting around afterwards is super helpful. But yeah, on these dates, it's like it depends. You might have like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. Just as Alex said, great subcoms and DHV. Like usually the girls are going to be asking you this similar questions. What do you do? How old are you? All that shit, right? It's the basic fucking questions. DHV the fuck out of yourself and then ask other questions, get her to qualify back. You're going to end up with some good scores at the end, hopefully, and then some follow-up. But just, again, keep in mind, depends on the event, but usually not the most attractive women in the world.
What do you think about like some emotional spikes, like finding ways to throw in emotional spikes in those questions? So let's say she asks you a question, you do like the open loop kind of thing, like, oh fuck, like I don't know if I should tell you, that kind of thing. Just finding ways to create those small emotional spikes to make it a little bit more interesting because no one else is doing that.
Yeah, 100%. It'll work great. When in loud clubs, how often do you guys use dance game and how does that look like? I usually don't need any places I've gamed before, but recently I've started going to louder, more dancey clubs and lots of girls seem to react very well to physicality while dancing as opposed to just talking with little to no moving around.
This is more for you. I'm not exactly the dance guy.
Yeah. Look, cold approach is going to be so much better in places where you can just fucking talk. Right, it's the amount of guys that put themselves in situations that are just shitty for cold approach is surprising. Like you say, you usually go to clubs that you have no problem gaming, and now you're gonna like, why are you going to these dance clubs now? Unless it's to go and dance, there will be times, right? I love a techno fucking club, right? There will be times that I go to just party, right? And usually I'm just going with a bunch of girls and I'm just fucking partying and dancing, and that's it. I'm not there to game, so that's fine if that's what you're doing. But you need to keep that in mind. But look, if you are in an environment where it is very dance floor focused and you're still trying to game, then what I usually do is like go out to the smoking area, like find a quiet area in the club or like out the front, whatever it is, go to areas where you can actually talk. Dance floor is not the best place. If you do go to the dance floor, dancing is often the worst thing you can do. I really, you want to get in there, approach super strong. You usually go very direct and try actually build compliance that way. It's yeah, look, I've done it before where like I've danced with girls and built some attraction that way, but usually it's with pre-selection. Usually I'm already with a few girls dancing and then like we'll call another girl in or like I'll bump into her and be like, yo, hey, get out, this is my dance floor, okay? What the fuck you think you're doing here? She's like, what? I've done it. And I'm like, no, out of my way, okay? This is fucked up. But I have the pre-selection with me so I can get away with opens like that. So just, make it easy for your environment. Don't make it hard for yourself.
Dude, I often see on the dance floor as well, this is like I just want to cover quickly the two biggest mistakes is that you can see clearly when some girls are just being attention whores. Those are not the girls you want to go and approach right then and there. You want to have some pre-selection or some shit first. Even the fact of just not approaching them is going to make them think a bit, why is this guy not approaching me? Because they have these validation girls, they're really good at getting guys to come up and approach them just so they can blow them out. And if you are the only guy who's not giving her attention, like she will notice that and she's going to try to get your attention. That's the first step in getting her to chase. Second of all, guys on the dance floor, they just like linger around the girls and simp but never approach, and it looks so fucking pathetic from the outside. So I feel like the best thing you can do on the dance floor, which also from my experience this is what I found, is you just go in and you approach really fucking strong. You approach so strong that you snap her out of dancing.
Perfect. How do I recover and continue this conversation? I think did we go through this before?
Oh yeah,
trying to be funny and make it laugh. Hey, hi, what are you doing? Nothing, you? Same, bored, lol. Sits by you, farts. Oh my god, so sorry. Lol, blushes and smile. Shit tense aggressively. I drank milk today. I'm okay, lol.
I mean, that's better than a lay, in my opinion. I think he won the game. I think he should be coaching us. Like, why should I give him advice? He's a fucking god.
Obviously, it's a little bit semi-retarded. Like, this is the problem when guys try to be like witty and funny. Like, humor is an attraction trigger. Witty is an attraction trigger. But it reaches a point where you're also then perceived as just a fucking clown that's like silly and like not attractive. So obviously, like at this point, it's just gone way too far. Like shit's pants aggressive. You're probably, this girl is not going to be taking you seriously or seeing you as like a sexual, available option. So yeah, I wouldn't go that far. All right. How do you call her out in this type of situation? Being kind of long distance, dating a woman in the last 3.5 months. She visited me twice in 3 9 days. She's actively texting, sending interest signals, selfies, answering to flirtation, sometimes initiating flirtation herself. Still, she avoids answering to the invitation to visit again and started delaying answers. She initiated contact, sending selfies, or showing me how her day is going, changing a few lines, but at some point delaying answers until the next day. I still use the same banner and flirt like before, did not change my style. Also telling me about her next 3-day holiday in 2 months, asking me if it tempts me. It is kind of confusing. I avoided to call her out on that, being afraid to not sound butthurt. Yeah, I mean, look, dude, what do you mean by a long distance relationship for 3.5 months? You've met a girl and seen her a couple of times. Like,
twice.
It seems like you're way too overly committed for someone that you really don't know that well and you live really far away from. So it's like, what are you actually trying to get out of this? Like, to me, if this is me, it's like, okay, this is a cool, fun experience with like a fuck buddy. Like, what do you want from this? Also, it seems like she doesn't know because she's being a bit like giving mixed signals here. And then she's telling you about a 3-day holiday and almost like asking if you want to come. Like, does it tempt you? So you both need to be more clear with each other here. Like, you need to actually ask yourself, like, what the fuck do you want out of this? Answer that question and then convey that to her. Because right now you seem both very confused.
And also in the future, like, what is it gonna look like? You're gonna meet this girl for 3 days every 2 months, and like, what else? So I mean, that's really, you gotta see this as like a long-term fuck buddy thing. This should be like, in your head, this should be like the most casual frame you've ever had with a girl. There should not be anything else, man.
Legit. To those asking questions, we'll get to them at the end. There's a good day game question in there, so we'll get to it soon. Guys, when you get really good at gaining women, do you still get rejected on a regular basis? What's your say in this?
Well, it depends how you define rejection. I think there are going to be few girls where if we're not able to move the interaction forward, it is because of a lack of attraction. If we can't move the interaction forward, the absolute majority of the time is going to be like a logistical issue, such as she's with her friends, like you can't pull her now, or there's some super hardcore objection that it's very difficult to overcome or something. But yes, like no one has a 100% success rate. Like no one has that. There's not a single person in this world who has that. So yes, there will be times where, because look, we're also human. We can have a shit interaction. Like we can have an interaction where we go up and where we go in and everything goes well and boom, we make a mistake and it doesn't work out. Like you guys need to realize this, because I think guys pedestalize us a lot. If we make a mistake, like a strategic error or like a framing mistake, we get the same result as you. Like we get the same type of pushback or negative reaction as you get. So there's really no difference there. The only difference between me, Marcus, and David and you guys is that we make less mistakes.
Yeah, I think this is like any skill. The better you get, the less failure you have, the more success you have. So it depends what you mean by good and what you mean by rejection. Like the way I see it, I barely ever get rejected these days, right? But you might consider, like, if I'm gaming a girl for a while and she's like, hey, by the way, I'm married and have 2 kids. Sorry about that.
It's not a rejection.
I'm not sitting there being like, fuck, bro, I just got rejected by this girl. Where I don't know, there's probably guys out there that see it that way.
Oh, so, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but also the better you get at this, like a lot of my approaches are going to go really well. And a lot of my interactions are going to go really well. But they weren't always like that. Like my rate of rejection has gone down a lot since when I first started game. But as Alex said, no one's fucking perfect. Of course, like we still face rejection. It's still going to be a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow men of culture. If you see a woman and you like her, how obvious do you make it to her? Do you treat her as a friend to an extent, or what?
Nope.
Yeah, no. Show some intent.
Sure hasn't. Nope.
Show some intent. What kind of message you send after the date if you're not sure if the girl liked you? It's something like, I had fun, we should meet again soon. What do you reckon?
That's gonna look like sending that as the first message after the first date, even if you fucked her or not, is going to come across as you're very eager and you're very easy. So regardless of what happened, I would not say that. I will not say that there. And if you're not sure if the girl liked you, I mean, you need to pay more attention during the first date, and you also need to be a little bit more strategic about what the things that you're doing. Because if you go on a date with a girl, you should try to pull her. If you can't pull her, there are 2 reasons why you can't do that. Actually, 3. There's lack of attraction. There's like logistics, as in you don't have time, or it just can't happen for whatever reason. Or third, she has an objection. Which one is it? It's only in the first case that she doesn't have enough attraction or value for you. So let's say there's no logistical problem, there's no objection or concern. Well, then boom, do you know she doesn't like you? So you shouldn't try to figure this out over text after. You need to know this in the first interaction, because you need to know what the fuck you're going to focus on the first date. Are you going to focus on spiking more emotions, building more value, displaying more authority? Or are you going to focus your time on, solving a logistical problem or handling an objection? Because if you don't know this, you're really just shooting in the dark.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, you're already fucked up. Like, yeah, you should be sure by the end of the date. Oh, whoops. Oh, was that all of them? Maybe. All right. Let's go through some of the questions from the chat.
Yeah, let's do
so we have. We had the copy and paste message. That's Vic. Okay, here we go. Message from Dogus. Dogus Trash. If the girl agrees to come to your place for the first time, do you offer her Uber, or do you expect her to come by herself? What about after first meetings? Do you always send her an Uber?
Well, I'll answer for myself. Most girls are going to be completely fine with getting their Uber themselves. Even if she is, I still offer it just to make it a bit easier. And also, I don't have a problem paying for a girl's fucking Uber. It's not a lot of money. Like, unless you're in like LA and she lives like 4 hours out or something, that's gonna be expensive. Then maybe no. But yes, I do offer it most of the time, just to make it easier. What about after first meetings? Yes. So I think that depends a little bit on where the world you're in. If you're in Sweden, no girl is ever going to ask for an Uber. If you're in Eastern Europe, let's say you're interacting with like a Ukrainian girl or sometimes Polish girls, right? They're going to sort of expect the man to, let's say, do some of these things. For example, you pay for drinks, you pay for Uber and shit. You just do it, because if you don't do it, they're actually going to interpret it as like, well, this guy is kind of incompetent. He can't even pay for my fucking Uber. And they really see it as like a lack of masculinity. So it's going to be really different. And I know a lot of guys, they're worried about paying for girls' Uber and paying for drinks because they don't want to feel used by the girl. Which is, I think that is something that is very based in insecurity. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I just fucking pay for it. And that's also what I advise people do. Pay for the drinks, pay for the Uber. Don't be a cheap fuck. Because that's a very quick way to lower your value, by being a fucking cheap fuck who can't even pay for a $10 Uber.
True. All right, dude, I found some more questions. All right.
Yeah.
If you want younger girls on Tinder, do you put your age a few years younger on Tinder, and then on bio say your real age? Okay,
that's a good question. So there are default settings when you install Tinder. So let's say if you're an 18-year-old girl and you install Tinder, the default setting is going to be your age range is from 18 to I believe 28. So I believe the age range by default is 10 plus years up. So if you're under 28, then there's no reason to do it, really. If you're above 28, then yes, you might actually want to set a lower age, because most girls, they're not going to go in and change their age preferences, because they're getting plenty of matches anyway. They you know, like a lot of girls, they don't even go in and check the fucking settings. It's just something that we do. So yes, if you're above 28, then yes, I would pull it down to 20 to probably like 27, so you could have the account for at least 1 year before you would have to change that.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing when I created my Tinder again the other day. I think I put it at 27 or 28, and I just put 32 in the bio. It's, best thing to do.
Yeah.
Girl I'm talking to barely texts me and just sends me memes and TikTok videos. Fucking welcome to Gen Z. How do I get her to stop sending memes and get her to chase?
I mean, I have some funny examples of this. Where's my phone? Well, actually, there was a girl who sent me like I have. There's so many of these fucking random girls from Tinder and shit. They're sending these retarded fucking memes. So she sent something like, when you go to the club and you get approached all night and you reject every guy and you go home with your girlfriends. She sent me like a TikTok that had a text, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's like Amazing Virgin game or something. Like I said something like that. I said something like you're about to go home to Jesus or something. Like I don't fucking remember, but that like validation strip, because she tried to do it in a way where it was clear that she was trying to be like, oh, I'm bragging, I'm a bad bitch, I go and reject every guy. But you're reframing that as like, oh, you're actually just an inexperienced virgin. And after that, she became much more compliant. So, you know, this is going to be super situational. So I feel like it depends on how compliant is the girl in other ways. Like, what is her archetype like? Is she the type of girl that actually responds well to validation strips, or is she not? Why is she sending you these memes? Are she sending you these memes because it's specifically to you, or is she sending it just to get like attention and validation from guys? Like, why is she doing it? So I think the context really matters, and what is in the meme and what is in the TikTok, because you can take something from the meme or from the TikTok and you can use it to your advantage, like in the way that I just described. So this is so contextual, man. It would be much easier to answer this question if you could, obviously, if you could tell me who the girl is, but also show me which video or meme she sent you. Then I could actually give you like, say this to spike her emotions this way.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's good, everyone? Just want to introduce myself. I'm from the US, 29, turning 30 in a few months. I play drums and do it as much as possible, but it's only a night job currently. Also work as an artist and graphic designer. When it comes to women, I've always gravitated toward focused on one at a time and investing all my energy into serious relationships. But now I'm focused more on myself and trying to meet a lot of different women, and that's why I'm in this group. I'm really good at building deeper connections, but need to up my game when it comes to having more casual relationships and hookups. Enjoying all the different sharing in this group so far. I should probably start posting some. Okay, no question. Just
really like a
all
question.
Right, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, bro.
I keep repeating patterns of self-sabotage, emotional neediness with women I meet due to childhood trauma. It happens on autopilot, and they reject. Obviously, has anyone here healed from childhood PTSD, and how so? All right,
maybe you know more about that than I do.
Yeah,
because I feel like this is kind of like you psychiatrist.
I mean, one, if you think this is a huge problem, then yeah, try to find a psychologist that you can work with in terms of these issues. But from like a dating point of view, I'd be very careful, because I know a lot of guys that will claim like, okay, I've got a lot of like these childhood patterns and they almost like identify by that and live by that. So just know that you can work through this. There will be a bunch of guys that work through this and deal with the anxiety that they have from childhood trauma to actually have like good relationships with women with like healthy attachment levels. So don't like try to identify by it, but again, it's super broad. You can actually ask yourself, what are these childhood traumas? How are they actually showing up in your dating life? And then you start thinking about how to correct it, right? Because there's a lot of guys, for example, that may fear abandonment, right, from childhood. And so now every girl that they're with, they're so anxious about abandonment. So every time the girl hasn't replied yet in like 4 minutes, they keep checking the phone, and they have this like anxious cycle of like, have they replied yet? Or you're like hitting them up again, and it's like looking like neediness because it is. And yes, the girl's going to reject that. So it's like, okay, how do I build a more healthy cycle around this? How do I get rid of this fear? And so, yeah, there are ways to work through that, but it's going to be a little bit more hyper specific. So, yeah, if you're interested, shoot me a DM. We can chat. All right, IG game question. If a girl reacts with a flame or some other emoji on your story, what is the best way to engage with that? is she putting up stories of herself? I guess I should just ignore that particular reaction and just engage with her stories and get a conversation going. But what if she doesn't post very much at all of herself? You like what you see? Too obvious when she reacts with a flame in a shirtless bathroom selfie, for example. What do you do, Alex? You post a selfie, girl sends you like a flame emoji or a wink emoji, or likes you, what do you do?
Let me think, because I've actually had fuck, I don't get emojis, man. I get texts. I don't get emojis. It's very rare for me to get emojis, actually. Usually they actually sound like a text message. But I feel like I think context also matters there. Like what exactly are you posting and what emoji are you getting? So
yeah,
here
it looks like he's posting like a shirtless bathroom selfie, which I'd question posting that. Like, I don't think that's the best thing to post. But if she's throwing a flame emoji, I'd just write thanks. I mean, I think saying you like what you see is probably a little bit too forward. I think she'd actually, as Alex said, write something if she was more invested.
Sounds a bit
She's just want a flame
narcissistic.
emoji. Yeah, I'd just be writing like thanks, right? And seeing if she follows up with anything or waiting for like another time to jump in.
You could send her like an emoji back. I think you could send the fuckboy emoji.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You're so fine. I'd let you step on my face and thank you for it. Okay, what
I would be like, honestly, I'd rather sit on it. Oh, no, that's not the way around. That's not the way around. That's a girl line. That's a girl line.
Alex is too busy giving text advice to his girls. Yeah, I mean, look, this girl obviously loves dominance, right? So I just roll with that. Like here I'd write here you could honestly just write good girl, full stop, and this girl's probably going to keep going. Or you could say good girl, I also have a lot more in mind for you, ... and like, you know, you can go into a like dominant sext. All right, that is now officially all of them. Let me
Fuck yes.
Screen, and let's get back to the questions.
Yes.
Okay, Vic, my man. While scheduling a date on a weekday, a lot of girls are not okay with the meeting late around 8:30, and they usually ask to meet earlier, like 6:30 or 7. What do you usually do in this situation?
Meet.
What type of date are you fucking organizing that she wants to meet at 6:30?
Yeah. But let's this is Vic. He's been watching a lot of my streams, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not like trying to get girls from Tinder for like fucking coffee dates. He's taking them for like a wine or like a quick drink or something before taking them home for like a fuck date. Benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'm overly optimistic here, but since it's Vic, I hope I'm not. I mean, in that case, look, just if that works with your schedule, just meet up with her. Because it could just be that she's working early in the morning. She has to get up. A lot of girls, they start getting ready for work at like 5:30, 6 a.m. because they're crazy with their makeup and shit. So, you know, she has to go to bed early to get her fucking beauty sleep. So yeah, I would just meet at 6:37 if that is compatible with your schedule. But I don't think you need to go into like some weird kind of fucking power play with like, hey, I decided time. Just meet up.
Ariane, I think this is the troll. Do you know James Tusk? Yeah, bro, we did a breakdown of James Tusk. It's in one of our lives, I think. D to the T. If the girl agrees to come to your place for the first time. Oh wait.
We answered that one, yeah.
All right. Holy diver. Have you heard about this guy, John Elite? He is a Chinese Canadian dating coach. I don't know him. Alex, have you heard of him?
Holy Diver, that's a very good song, by the way. It's a very good song. Yeah, it's good. Have you? Yeah, I've heard. I know I have seen this guy somewhere. But yeah, like I have definitely not seen enough to have like an opinion or anything. I don't wanna speak too soon on anything. So
yeah, if you got Infield, send it over. We can break it down one day. John Elite, yeah, I haven't heard of him. Holy diver, he's a sociopath. His videos show he's irate, emotionally unhinged. Like, okay, that'll be a good breakdown. So
maybe it's okay. I mean, let's think about maybe it's very good at game. Then who knows? Maybe it's very good at game. Who knows?
Okay. What if I don't want to?
Oh yeah, okay, we went through this. Yeah. Do this.
Gone through that. Appreciate the answer. No worries. Accidentally walked into a speed date event in Sydney. It was all 3s and 5s. The guys were
What are
the
you
best
talking about?
ever.
Mark is not a 3 or 5. He's at least like an 8 according to looks
Red
for
pill
L.
bros.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I love the black pill. I love the black pill community. I feel like the red pill community wouldn't tell me how good looking I am all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they'd focus on, but they'd probably go on about like fucking money or some shit. But
Yeah.
black pill guys, they're fucking great.
Bro, I love my brothers from all the pills. Like,
yeah,
like
my favorite's the black pill. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I think blue pill guys. I would probably think like, okay, maybe you guys are a little bit simp, but I love my brother from all the pills. Really, I will never discriminate people based on their pill.
Oh,
Absolutely not.
I will.
You will.
Black pill at the top. Yeah, they're my
You
favorite.
put black. Okay. Okay. So
black.
Which pill validates the most?
Oh, black. Black pills are the best. Black at the top.
That's the metric.
Then blue pill, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll pay for like my girls' shit. You know, like all my girls don't work.
That is true. That is true. They pay so you don't have to do.
Exactly.
They take care of her. Yeah.
Legit. Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
Then red pill. Because they just feel like idiots. But black
they're
pill,
bitter, man. They're so bitter.
They're bitter. But,
actually, one thing, the black pill guys,
Mm.
they are, at least they are thinking of improving something, which I think is good. They want to improve something. But some of these guys from other pills, I really get the impression that they just like completely accepted defeat and they're fucking bitter and they just hate women.
Well, that's some of the black pill actually. Black pill. Some guys don't believe you can look smacks.
Well, you can't look smacked. Have you ever gotten a haircut, you stupid fuck?
Yeah, I've been in the forums, bro. It's interesting.
Dude, it's so retarded. Have you ever seen a girl put on her makeup? How can you claim that
they'll agree? They'll agree women are look smaxing and lying. But the minute you talk about men, it's like, no, our facial bone and structure is fixed. We can't change it.
Okay,
I've got a black pill guy.
Fuck.
I've got a black pill guy coming on Monday to have a chat.
Well,
hey, he's not that extreme.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll have a chat about it. All right. Hey, can you guys discuss strategies besides good calibration to avoid societal pushbacks during day game? Most PUAs keep claiming that there is no risks, but try approaching 10 goals a day in Scotland. All right, what pushback are you getting, my bro? If you're still around in the chat, I'll scroll down. Let me know, like, what are the goals actually fucking saying to you? Because, look, talking about the black pill, there's a lot of guys in other communities that will say, you can't fucking approach anymore. There's this huge push with feminism. No one wants you approaching, is looked down upon, all this shit, right? Now,
bullshit.
Some of that, there's a small amount of truth to that. And yeah, you might be able to go on the internet and find some like crazy videos of like some rejections. But in all my years of approaching and in all my years of watching my students approach, those extreme examples just never happen. I've had one time where some feminist girl came up and was like, what are you doing when I was coaching? She's like, you guys are approaching women and it's unfair and da-da-da. And she went on some rant. And that happened all the time. I've had so many times, legit, every single day on program, when I'm listening to students, there'll be at least one girl that says, I love what you're doing. Keep doing this. That's so nice. You're so confident. This is amazing. More guys should do this. If you go out and do a fucking poll and you go and ask women, hey, ideally, how would you like to meet a guy? Would you prefer some guy to come up to you as you're fucking shopping for groceries and start chatting to you? Or would you prefer to find someone on Tinder? Majority of women are going to fantasize about that idea of a guy coming up and speaking to them. Now, yes, there's going to be some calibration that's involved. And I know you said besides good calibration, but you don't need good calibration. You need common sense. If you're in a fucking elevator, don't start escalating on a girl that can't leave, right? Like if you're going down and sitting next to a girl on a beach where she can't leave, then make it very clear, hey, by the way, if you're not into this, just let me know, I'll bounce, right? Like make it very clear. If you're sitting next to a girl on a bus, for example, hey, I just came to hit on you, look cute, but if you want me to leave, just let me know, I don't mind, right? These are the things you put in play. You're never going to face a risk. There's going to be some girls, right, that you approach them day gaming, and they're going to reject you the exact same way they would reject a salesman, someone like in here in Sydney, there's a lot of people doing charity work. So they've got their lanyard, they're staying there, excuse me,
Fundraising shit.
and everyone's just rejecting them. Like, sorry, busy, sorry, busy. You're going to get that sometimes when you approach, right? It's going to fucking happen. But that isn't like this no risk societal pull pushback. There's not some girl's going to like take a photo of you, put it up on the news and be like, this guy came up and said hi to me. Like, what the fuck? Just not going to happen. So I'm really curious what you're saying about 10 girls a day in Scotland, about what type of pushback you're getting, because I just don't see it anywhere.
Maybe if you cold read them as Irish, they would get pissed.
Larry, most PUA coaches move to third world countries to game because they have a better chance of picking them up using their passport or money. Have you thought of moving? I think we did a Passport Bros live stream talking about this.
I prefer gaming in first world countries personally. Like Australia is my favorite place to game. Like if I could live there year round, that's what I would do. I would never fucking leave straight up.
Yeah, there's going to be different countries that are going to be easier. Like if I go to Thailand and go on Tinder there, or even cold approach, it's going to be so easy to fucking pull as like a white guy. Going to America, I get the advantage of like an Australian accent. Going to Poland, I get the advantage of coming across as like socioeconomically like more advanced or well off. There's going to be different countries that have like pros, cons, things like that. I think a big misconception is, yeah, sure, like Asian countries, for example, might be a lot easier. Places like Eastern Europe, you go to Croatia, which is like where my family's from. Unless you're going to some village and speaking like Croatian or some shit, or you find a girl with like broken English and then like promise them money and like a passport, then you're not going to have like this 25-year-old, like one of my students, go to Croatia and find it like 10 times easier than America. Like the girls there are super attractive. They speak English. They're somewhat
the guys are alpha,
right? Yeah, the guys are super alpha as fuck, right?
The guys think actually they can go to these third world countries and they think it's gonna be easy. They don't realize that the men in third world countries are so much more alpha than guys in first world countries that in some ways is actually much harder.
Yeah. So unless you're actually going to like a village and saying, I will give you this money, I will give you a passport, and I'll take you back to my country, which is not what PUAs are doing, right? And look, I'm defending a lot of PUAs that I don't fucking like, right? So it's not as easy as like people make it out to be, unless you are actually just like fucking paying some girl, which some of the PUAs I don't like, I don't think they're doing that. Is day game good in Serbia? It is fucking amazing pre-COVID. Don't know what it's like now, but it was fucking amazing. Serbia is poor country, so yes, day game is easy in these places. And similarly, Tinder game, change your country location and you'll get a ton of matches there.
I don't know if I would say easy because those girls, they're not making it very easy. I do not agree with easy there, actually. I do not think so. I do not think so because of what I just said, basically. Like, those Serbian girls, they are super, 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 super confident. They are going to test you. They're super weird. They're super smooth. They have amazing game. Like they have really amazing game. Your game needs to be on point. Your verbals need to be on point. Your subcoms need to be on point. Your assertiveness and dominance has to be next level. So I do not think it's easy because I know a lot of coaches who went there and they said, hey, Serbia is impossible.
Yeah, dude. Like same with Ukraine. Like I won't mention the coach's name, but we know someone that went to Ukraine and pretty much didn't get laid, right? Obviously before the war, but it's it's not as easy as you think. Serbia is great for fucking day game because there's a lot of girls out during the day.
And they're
super hot. Yeah, they're really intelligent. They're very witty. Like they're some of my favorite girls around the world. That's why it's good. It's not good because you can just rock up and be like, yo, I'm American or I'm Australian and close. That's not the way it is. After using the type routine and sexual hoops, what do you usually say to close the girl at the bar or at club? Yeah, I mean, you can seed with whatever you built the value on, right? Like if I build value on tying girls up, then that's maybe how I see it. I'm like, oh, you'd look so good in my rope tonight. Maybe if I like build value around massages, how good I am at it and how it's going to get her out of her head into a body, she's going to have the best experience ever. Then I might say, hey, let's go back to mine. I'll give you a massage. But 9 times out of 10 for you guys, like you can just say a drink, right? Have a little bit of sexual DHV, escalate a little bit in the club, have some value, and then tell her like, hey, look, later, let's go back to mine. We'll have a glass of wine. Right?
Yeah,
Don't have to
and
be obligate.
when actually going for the pull, this is something that I've been doing for the past couple of years, and I think it really feels super smooth when you do it. You just ask the girl I essentially ask her, "Do you have a jacket in the coat room or not?" And if she's like yes, I'm like, "All right, we'll finish this drink, then we'll go get it." And if she says no, I don't have one, I'm like, "All right, cool, let's go."
Ryan, glad you and P guys are not so bitter or hate women. Exactly, man.
Yes.
And love you, bro. Thanks for the super.
Ryan is one of our biggest supporters. I mean, Ryan is almost paying for our rent with these YouTube donations. It's very appreciated, man. Thank you.
I feel like an OnlyFans girl. This is great.
Yeah,
if anyone else wants to,
I feel like such a whore right now. Yeah.
We'll get Alex to take his shirt off. Okay. If anyone sends anything over $5,
yeah,
Alex is gonna take his shirt off, right?
It's for charity.
What is the best way to break up with a girl you casually see? What if she has hopes for something more serious after? I don't think I've ever broken up with a girl.
No, never.
Casually seeing.
I mean,
I really don't think I've ever done it.
And also, I think a big part of that is because we don't really give them hope that, like, hey, look, it's gonna be serious later on. Like, we really don't do that. We're like, hey, look, this is my life. This is what I do. This is going to be casual. It's never going to change. That's how I set it up with like pretty much every single girl.
Yeah, like if you don't want to see her anymore, like if I'm seeing a girl casually, like the problem is what you mean by casually. If you say it's casual, but you're seeing her every fucking day, you're messaging her every day, and it feels like a relationship, then you're gonna have to break up with her, right? Like, but to me, when I'm seeing someone casual, what that means is at most I'm seeing her once a week, right? I'm not messaging her every day. When we're meeting up, it's not these elaborate dates and she's like meeting my family or some shit. Usually she's coming straight to the place, or we go and grab dinner, or maybe watch a show or something, but it's not like crazy. And so it's chill. And if I usually don't wake up one day and think, fuck, I'm sick of this girl. Right? Happen slowly. Right. So maybe I'm seeing her for a month and I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know, I just don't feel it that much with this girl. So then maybe I go 2 weeks without seeing her, and then I'm like, okay, well, fuck, the desire's back now, right? Because I haven't seen her for 2 weeks. I see her again, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe not. Wait 3 weeks, maybe see her again. So it's like this slow tapered period. And then like by the time I haven't seen her in a month, right? Like maybe I just go another month. And the important thing about this is there's times, honestly, like maybe you want to set up a threesome, right? You have a girl there available now that you haven't fucking broken up with and burnt the bridge. You can actually just hit her up again. Or, whatever it might be. Maybe like I've had situations where I go through periods where I'm just fucking on my game, right? I'm on Tinder, I'm cold approaching, I'm going out a lot, I have all these fucking options, I'm seeing all these, and then maybe other times I'm like, dude, I just want to work, right? Which has been the last couple of months for me, right? I'm just working, and like, so I'm not seeing a lot of girls, You don't want to burn all those bridges and just be like, hey, everyone, I'm in work mode, so I'm breaking up with everyone. Because when I get out of this phase of like working and I want to fucking just be fucking every night again, then I'll have the girls there to do it. It's not like breaking up with them. And it feels weird. Like if I was seeing a girl casually and then she came to me and was like, listen, Mark, we can't see each other anymore. So it's going to feel super weird. It's like, what the fuck? We're barely seeing each other anyway. Like this formality doesn't need to happen. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. You really shouldn't have to.
Next question. Here we go. Duckman. Appearance or game? No way a 5 out of 10 guy can get a 9 out of 10 girl, right?
Oh yeah, it's possible. It's just going to be much harder.
Yeah. Look, you need to be realistic here. If you're a 5 out of 10 guy, and it depends what you mean by 5 out of 10 and 9 out of 10, right? But if you're a very unattractive guy and you come to me as a student and you're like, yo, I want to be fucking 10s, it's
like, all right, bro, let's
poor expectations. It's likely not going to happen unless you come to me as like a super unattractive guy that is like a multi-millionaire with status and is like traveling around the world or some shit. That's something we can work with. Or if you just have like fucking amazing, great social skills in game, like without any training, that's something we can work with. But typically, a very unattractive guy is not going to be pulling a 10. What you'd want to expect is to pull someone out of your league, is to pull like someone more attractive than you with good game. That's what you should be expecting. But you don't want to like delude yourself with, oh, I'm going to be pulling supermodels every fucking night because I learned some game. Like
Yeah.
me and Alex spent many years learning game, and not only learning game, but fixing our fitness, getting money, like building a business. Like we did all of this. And so, yes, we're in positions where we can fuck very attractive women very often, but you can't expect as like a 5 out of 10 guy to like, oh, I'll fucking go out in a couple of weekends and then, yeah, it'll be amazing. It's just not going to happen.
I've seen this from both perspectives, right? Like I've been low SMB, like fat and fucking disgusting, and also like now, like I'm pretty good, right? So I can say that I fucked a lot of nines when I was fucking low SMB, but it was much harder. Now it's oh my god, it's so much easier. It is so much easier. So like I'm not downplaying the importance of looks, but I'm also not downplaying the potency that just game can have in itself. But look, if you're a 5 out of 10 guy, part of me is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's absolutely no reason why you should be a 5 out of 10. You gotta put in some fucking work, man, if you identify as a 5 out of 10. You need to fix everything, bro. Get to work.
Duckman, I was massively improved after watching Alex's text game videos, but in real date, I can't react instantly, unlike text.
Yeah.
I can edit, rethink what to say, what you guys format for real life date. Yeah, I mean, you need experience.
Yeah.
So the texting's great to actually teach you some of the principles, but you need some real life fucking experience. And we also have videos on how to date, right? Where I've got some dating infield, things like that, what to do on the actual dates. So the same way you practice your text game, go to the fucking videos on how to fucking date, join the mastermind if you're not in there, ask us questions, actually learn that process as well, because it's not too dissimilar to the process of learning text game, except it's going to be in real life now with a couple of different principles.
Yeah, you just have to think a little bit quicker, right? But also I think it's important to note that like this is why I'm advising guys to like don't just rely on online game. Like I'm very big on that actually. Both me and Mark, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lays before we even started using online game. We had hundreds and hundreds of lays from cold approach, and that's when we added online game on top of it. But see, this is the thing with every fucking guy who is only doing online game. It's like, okay, they're good when they're texting and they can copy shit from our videos, but you put them in front of the girl, everything just crumbles. Because they have no experience from real life, they have no experience from cold approach, they have no experience from going on hundreds and hundreds of dates. I mean, you're asking like, how do I get good at that? Well, if you're asking me how to get good at text game, I'm like, okay, well, message 1,000 girls and implement what I'm saying, and you're gonna be better at the end of it. It's gonna be the same thing for like if you want to get better at how you run your dates or how you run your cold approach interaction. I'm like, all right, take our theory, do it on 1,000 girls, and come back and tell me you didn't get better. But guys, they want a quick solution. There is no fucking quick solution. You need to put in the fucking work. You need to do the volume. You need to do the volume with the right information. That's how you get good at it. But there's no way you can sit here and fucking like just theory junkie your shit and then go out and expect you to be able to pull it off. Because the shit that we're teaching, it works. You might not be able to pull it off, but it works. You just haven't practiced it enough. So that's what you got to do. Go watch my video on how to run a date, and then do it on 500 dates, 500 or 1,000 dates. Come back and tell me you didn't improve significantly. If you're too lazy to do that, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Sankran, I wasn't asking to complain. I'm talking about stuff like girls going to a security guy nearby and saying, hey, this guy approached me. How many times does that actually happen to you, bro? Like, and where? I just never see this happening. Like, this sounds to me like a hypothetical. And like, I'm just picturing this where you go up in front of a girl, like, hey, excuse me, sorry, one sec. She's like, yeah, you're like, you look amazing. And her going over to security guard being like, this guy came over and said I'm good looking. Like, security's going to be like,
okay,
what?
cool.
Yeah, this guy came over to me and said I look pretty today. Okay, yeah, and what the fuck you want me to do about it? Like, what do you want about? Right now, what might be a scenario that I could imagine happening in reality is maybe you go up to a girl, you're like, excuse me one second. She's like, no, sorry. And then you like chase after her. You're like, wait. And she's like, no, sorry. And then you're like following her, trying to talk to her and shit. That's a situation where I can imagine a girl saying, this guy won't leave me alone. and he keeps fucking following me. So usually what I teach students is you go over, hey, excuse me. If they keep walking, you don't follow. You fucking stand there and you can say, wait, 1 second. But if she keeps walking, don't fucking follow her, right? So if you're doing that, I just can't imagine a scenario where this happens like more than one time ever.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see it. How do you game a Ukrainian girl that's that hard push sexualization? You can't run tight routine on her. She wants to meet at a bar, not your house first. How do you manage the date?
First of all, like I think guys conflate like they can't run type routine. They conflate that and they can't do explicit sexualization. So there are different parts of this entire, like, let's say, dominance kind of structure. You can absolutely 10 out of 10 times tell a Ukrainian girl, I can tell that you like dominant guys and you're submissive. You can say that 10 out of 10 times. I'm not buying that she's pushing back on that. I'm not buying it. Unless she just doesn't see you as very dominant. But then again, if you're asking the girl, if you're going to ask the Ukrainian girl if she likes to be choked, hair pulled, like that kind of stuff, typically there's going to be too much. So if I were to give you like a rule of thumb, don't go explicit in your sexualization. Don't go explicit. You can absolutely do the dominant submissive thing, but there I would kind of cut it, and I wouldn't take it much further. I wouldn't try to get sexual investment. I wouldn't. Essentially, I wouldn't try to get sexual investment because that's where you're gonna start pushing back. But she's saying she wants to meet at a bar, not your house first. Cool, man. You meet at the bar, and what do? You need to be the same guy that you portrayed yourself to be over text. So if you're doing this thing with the Ukrainian girl, you're running the dominance angle, right? And also, look, I'm reading your question again, and you're saying that she did hard push back on the sexualization. You can't run type routine, but she still wants to meet at a bar and not your place first. Do you see the formulation there? She's like, okay, I know this guy is he's claiming to be dominant. Okay, but I would like some confirmation of that first. So therefore, I'm going to meet him in a bar to confirm that he is actually what he's claiming to be before I go to his place. So what do? You meet up at the bar. You be the same person that you fucking told her that you were over text, and then you pull. She's literally saying, hey, look, I just want to confirm your dominance in person. If you are, I will fuck you. That's what she's saying.
Cool. During day game, how do you sexualize? I think Alex has a video on this, like how to sexualize.
Multiple.
The question was like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? That I usually save for later on in the interaction. It's a very hard question to get compliance from. So go check out those videos. There's a bunch on YouTube.
I haven't asked that question since 2019, by the way. Yeah. I don't think I've asked that a single time since 2019.
Smooth ways to screen girls for contraceptive before meeting for a date, and I clarified he doesn't want to use a condom. I just use a condom.
I would.
Right? It's like,
or you find a Swedish girl.
Yeah.
You find a Swedish girl, and
it's
like
going to be
America.
Super difficult to screen for this whatsoever, unless it's explicitly fucking sexual, right? It's explicitly sexual, and then even then, it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to ask, like, man, I don't even know. Like, I've never had to screen for women that are on contraception.
Yeah.
You could run something like, hey, have you been tested? Right? Running like an STI screen. Then when she's like, yeah, sure, be like, oh, you're also protected. You use contraception. So that could be like a smoother transition into it. But at the end of the day, like, I think there's just risks too much. You could ask her in person and do it that way, where you're going to run less risk. But I just wear a condom. And my question is, like, why don't you like wearing condoms? If it's like the feeling, use a super thin one and stop fucking girls without them so you're not like used to it. And if it's a problem getting hard, then I'd masturbate with a condom and just get like super used to them. All right.
You just go with skin, bro.
Planning to do a Tinder live session anytime soon. I'm actually getting my Tinder pumped with matches right now. So Alex, we'll do one next week.
I'll do one with Mark, but like honestly, I am personally, like for myself, I'm so sick of Tinder. Like I haven't used it since, like I haven't even used it for myself since I did the last live stream. Like I'm taking a break myself from Tinder, but I will do it with Mark. When will I do my own Tinder live session? When I get when I feel the desire to fucking use it. We'll see. Could be very soon. Probably.
If someone wanted to start day game approaching today, what would be your best tips you give them?
You go out and open a girl, don't fucking overthink it. Because
100%.
that's the thing, like, you don't want to overthink it. But this is such a fucking common pitfall. Guys, they want to know exactly how to do the approach before they do their approach. And that just keeps procrastinating them from taking action. And I'm like, bro, literally just go out and approach. Like, maybe you could have like I think if this is your first approach, just do like a direct opener, like, hey, I think you look absolutely incredible. You just do like fucking opener like that. Don't overthink it. You get some positive reactions. If you give compliments, you're gonna get a lot of positive reactions, which is going to pump your confidence a bit for later on, right? Because you're gonna be like, oh fuck, I started day game today. I'm getting positive reactions. They're into it. That's gonna motivate you to go out for day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Because learning game or learning day game is not a short-term process. It's gonna take years, bro. So if you don't feel like you want to go out for day 2 or day 3, well, then you're never gonna get to a point where you're gonna be able to learn anything. So I'm just like, go out, make it easy for yourself. Keep expectations to a fucking minimum. Go out, approach, give a compliment. That's it. Like, don't overthink it. That would be like the biggest mistake, to be like, I have this fucking intricate strategy planned out. That would set you back. So I would just go out, just try to make it very, very simple for myself.
Cool. Is a 25-minute walk too long for a day game pool?
Nope.
Should I just say, dude, just get an Uber?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
get the Uber.
25 minutes, just get an Uber.
Yeah, get the Uber. I will say this. The majority of my pulls during my first year of game, because I was too broke to order Ubers. Yeah, I was too broke to do that. So I would walk the girl for 1.5 hours from the mall in Melbourne down to South Yarra, where I was living, Chapel Street, if we have anyone from Melbourne here. And that was about an hour and a half walk. It was never a problem. Like, it was not a problem even a single time. Never did a girl say, this is too far, can't do it, sorry. Not a single time. Not even in my first year of game. So I think this thing with logistics is a little bit overplayed. But I agree with Mark. Like, it's better to take the Uber than to walk for 1.5 hours. Just get the Uber. Don't do what I did. It's unnecessary.
Capest? I don't know. Can you explain what the Mastermind gives you? Is it like video content, community, live coaching, and also does it go deep into how to become good in the bedroom, BDSM dominance, etc.?
All of those things.
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, you can just join the 2-week free trial, see for yourself what's in there. But essentially, there's a catalog of content. So articles, videos, live streams. Then it's like a 400-person community. So it's a bunch of guys that have been in there like from the start. And obviously a bunch of new guys, different levels, different experience. And we cover things like day game, night game. BDSM, there's a bunch of streams about that. There's some Shibari stuff in there. And even things like looks maxing. I think Swift has started a new like mini group for people in the Mastermind for like their fitness journeys and stay accountable. We've had like finance groups where people started up before, things like that. So there's fucking everything in there, but you can that's the reason we have the 2-week free trial. You can just check it out. And
I'm also posting the content directory in the group chat here, so they can actually see exactly the content that is in there. They won't be able to watch the content, but they can see like the titles and stuff. So you'll know exactly what you're getting. But also on top of that, not everything is in this guide actually. There are hundreds and hundreds of hours of like Q&As and stuff that is not included in what I'm posting in the chat right now. Full Mastermind content.
Well, Alex, you gotta take your shirt off, bro.
I'll take my shirt off. Give me a couple of more weeks when I'm absolutely fucking shredded to the bone. I'll do it.
Okay, well, thanks for the $10 dono. Okay, so Maker's take is. Guys in day game, I opened pre-selection. Where are you from? DHV. Did best routine asking where she's from, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But then didn't know how to continue. I couldn't quite keep it up as she began to get really attracted. What are some ways you could have continued this thread? Do you have a few examples? Yeah, bro. I mean, your structure is like very shallow right now. So you literally open and ask where she's from. So the next thing you can be talking about is maybe what she does for work, and talk about like your job, for example. Now, given the fact that you've already gone into liking dominance, if she's agreed to that and was really attracted, then I continue down that path. So it could be simple as something else like, what have you experienced so far? Or perhaps guessing what she's into. Like I can tell in the bedroom, you like it very rough, like hair pulling, choking, spanking, along those lines, right? And maybe she's like, oh, yeah, I love spanking. Then you go into a little bit more detail around that. So you could continue that thread a little bit, but you have so many other questions you can ask here. Like you've literally asked one. So, I mean, even going into, someone mentioned before, craziest thing you've ever done, you could say that. You could be like, what's your experience with like dominant sex? Like, what's the craziest thing you've done? First thing that comes to your mind. It's not the best, but it's something to move forward. The issue here, I think, is that again, it's the whole idea of pressure. It's going well, so you don't want to fuck it up. Be willing to just continue that thread, ask something to learn from it, and hopefully it all works out. What are common ties you do when a girl finds shibari as a value prop? Yeah, so again, these are a couple of the common ones I put in the mastermind. You can essentially do single column ties. You can just Google that as well if you want to learn from Google. But it's just a tie around the wrists. They can go to the bed. You do double column ties, which ties both their hands together, go to the bed. You can do hand wraps. The other name for that is yeah, maybe just look up hand wraps. I forget what I called it, but it's like a cool little wrap for the hand. You can go to the bed, and then you can get a little bit more advanced things like futomomo, it's called, where you can actually tie up their legs, do that to the bed.
Is that like a harness thing?
Yeah, there's some harnesses you can do as well. So there's some variations there, like a TK harness, but I probably wouldn't use that in bed. It's a little bit more complex. But there are some basic ones you can do if you're new to shibari and a girl wants to be tied up. Go on a date with a Dutch girl. They all on contraception. Yeah, there's some groups.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably very true.
Yeah. Mark, could you give an example of your tonality when saying, "Can I be honest with you? You look fucking amazing." I feel like hearing you say it could really help. Yes, this is for like day game opening. Then I usually go up and I'm like, "Hey, excuse me, 1 second, 1 second." Girl's like, "What?" I'll be like, "Look, can I be honest with you?" And this is where she's going to be. Girls are always like somewhat confused or like don't know what to expect. Like, okay, look, you look absolutely fucking amazing. It's typically how I'm going to do it. Now, if it's in night game, I'm going to have a little bit more volume and use my hands a lot more, and especially if there's a group around. But there you go. I also did a stream on openers where I think I gave an example of a bunch and demonstrated it, so you can check that out. Damn, you lived in
South Yarra as well, in Melbourne.
Oh, South Yarra. Great place. Yeah. Surprised you didn't day game around the area, low volume.
Because all of my wings were in the city center. That was why. But dude, South Yarra was fucking incredible. Even for night game, if you go to Church Street, there are some places on Church Street where you will find the best quality in the city.
Have you ever had girls on these YouTube lives before? We haven't, but we should. I'm just trying to think what content we pay for it.
In the Mastermind, we've had we've guided guys to give girls orgasms when they have a girl in bed and shit. It's hilarious, man. Like you can actually, like, if you want to hear that, you can find it in the Mastermind. Where I think it's Swift. He's guiding a member who has a girl in bed. She's never had an orgasm before. And he's telling him like everything to do, like touch her this way, here, this, do this is orgasm. So like we have a lot of shit like that in the Mastermind. Yeah,
we've done interviews with girls post sex, stuff like that. But yeah, on YouTube lives, Alex, maybe we should get a bunch of girls on and do like profile reviews, like have guys photos and shit.
That would be. I have a couple of girls in mind who would definitely be down for that.
Yeah, I got a girl that could come along. All right. Yeah. Could you answer question above about gaming younger nice church girls versus old experienced ones? Let me find it.
There's a video of that.
Okay. Yeah, I've done a few videos on this. I'm dealing with like limiting beliefs and stuff like that. The biggest thing for you is to not have a limiting belief around good girls versus slutty girls, right? You have to deal with your own fucking views on this. And then you want to encourage her as much as you can to open up as much as you can through framing it in the best way possible. So what I mean by that is saying that you like girls that are open-minded and that aren't held back by religion or culture, and that you like girls that can, express themselves in a very confident sexual way. And also having the value right behind that. So yeah, we got some videos on that you can check out. Let me scroll back down. Where am I? Here we go. The long road home. I saw a 10 out of 10 the other day with two high SMV guys, either side of her in the middle of the day, walking towards my direction. Is this type of set doomed for failure, or how would you personally do it? Yeah, definitely not doomed for failure. Like, this is a great set to open. You literally just go in, and what I would do is just straight up ask, like, hey, either of these guys your boyfriend? Or like with my personality, I'd probably ask, like, oh, do you have two boyfriends? Is how I typically do it. Now, when she says no, and typically the guys are going to be a little bit put off, is I'll very confidently say, perfect, you're exactly my type. I had to come, chat to you, but I didn't want to be disrespectful, right? So now the guys feel heard. Hopefully, if they're friends with the girl, they're going to like DHV you a little bit here, or at least be okay with you being around. And the girl is going to think, what the fuck? That is the ballsiest thing I've ever seen in my fucking entire life. And you're going to get a lot of confidence points for that and have a lot of attraction from doing that. So yeah, it's not doomed. It's actually probably a really optimal open that you can do.
Yes. I would also say that even in night game, if you see a girl with a high SMV guy and it's going well for him, I think that is actually like one of the best sets to AMOG, right? Because you have so much confidence points. Like, I feel like my best AMOGs have been guys who were considerably higher SMV. Like, do you remember, there's one specifically in mind, like the 6'4" German police officer in Barcelona. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
and there was
yeah.
like a blonde girl who they had to give her like a razor because she had to shave and shit.
Yeah, shave, yeah.
Do you remember that? It was fucking hilarious. And you had a girl there as well who was like winging it.
Yeah.
Do you remember which one?
I don't remember which one, but I remember I had my girl in
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah.
And remember you were in the lounge room. I'm like, what's going on? You're like, my girl's in the bathroom shaving.
Yeah. Oh, 2018, man.
Fuck, who was I with? I don't even remember.
It was a brunette girl, maybe from like somewhere in Europe, but she's definitely European. Brunette. But she traveled there to meet you.
To see me, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who it is. Yeah, it's the girl I met in Budapest, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, South America.
Right. Yeah.
All right. When meeting your girlfriend's dad, how would you respond if he says, "I'm big, you're small, be careful"? I mean, just show her some respect here. Like, there's no need to try out a mog your fucking girlfriend's dad. When he's like, "I'm big, you're small, be careful," yeah, I'll just be like, I'll just respectfully say, "I will," right, and just smile back at him. It's there's no need to try like out compete with your girlfriend's dad. Show him some respect, and you'll be fine, right? It's when he's saying this, I imagine the tone is not going to be super serious. He's probably not going to come up to you and be like, "Hey, be fucking careful, okay?" It's usually going to be like a tone of, "Hey, listen, I'm bigger than you, okay? You better be careful. Like, be careful with my daughter," right? I'd smile and be like, "Of course, right? Of course, I'll look after her." It's yeah, you don't have to fucking out amog your girlfriend's dad. What would you say to someone who has limited belief that day game is weird, strange? I've had the bad past interactions, so I don't want to be a creep again. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go over this one more time, right? You really need to understand that this is what women want. So if you don't understand that right now, go out and ask them. Go out and ask your friends. Like, how would they feel about a guy that they like coming up and speaking to them during the day? It's number one. Number two is then think about what are the negative effects of you going up and actually shooting a shot and saying, "Hey, by the way, you look great." Right? What are the negative effects of the girls? Girls don't give a fuck, okay? There is not one single girl after they get approached going home with fucking trauma and speaking to their therapist about how awful of the day they had when some stranger came up and said they looked beautiful, right? Doesn't happen. The girl might, by the way, be like, "Hey, not interested," and look annoyed and frustrated and walk away. But that's how I feel when someone tries and selling a fucking book to me as I'm walking past, right? Like, I don't then go away feeling massively like fucking objectified and used and like awful and all this. It just doesn't happen. So as long as you're not actually being a creep and like following this girl home or some shit, or like continually like opening her and following her, like as long as you're not doing that, you're going up, giving a false time restraint, doing it open. If she's not into it and walks away, you're cool with that and you walk away, then there's literally nothing wrong, weird, strange about it. It's honestly like super normal, right? It's normal for people to be attracted to the opposite sex. And it's like, how else do you expect it to like meet people? How else you like Tinder, right? Is that what you expect? Girls
I think
would
it's
not
weird
prefer
not
that.
to.
They
I think it's
yeah,
weird
it's
not
weird
to.
not to.
It's creepy. It's creepy if you're like, oh fuck, she's super hot, I want to talk to her, but I'm too fucking anxious to do it. That's weirder to me than doing it.
Yeah. By the way, dude, I've done this with like, I've approached daughters before, and then the dads come over and like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I saw your daughter here. I thought she was really pretty, so I came up to say hi. And I've had students, by the way, that have done the exact same shit, and the dads come in and being like, what the fuck? They got all nervous. And I came in and I was like, yeah, like, how else would you want people to meet each other these days, right? Like Tinder? What the fuck? And most older generations are going to be on their fucking hitting Tinder bandwagon. So it's, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, you're going to have to go out there and like see these reactions for yourself and have somewhat of a selection bias and have the right narrative. Don't see one girl be like, oh, not interested, and think that she's fucking going to go home and cry about your approach. It's not going to happen. Okay. Girls, for the most part, respect and want to be opened.
Yeah. And also, do you want to fuck or not? Like, even if, let's say, hypothetically, let's say if it was weird or strange, would you rather just not fuck girls from day game? Because no one's forcing you to do this. Like, you don't have to. But I feel like even if it was strange or weird, or even if I thought it was, my desire to fuck girls from day game would be stronger than that. So it's like, maybe you just don't want it enough if that's something holding you back.
Next one is they want us to look up Andrea Botes. Dude, this girl's a chess streamer, no? Seen some of her content. If it's the same person I'm thinking of, I'm just looking it up now. My internet's just a bit slow. Okay, okay, we're gonna play this. Let me share my screen. Why is my fucking internet so fucking... Maybe it's my computer, actually.
Australia. Best internet in the world.
It's actually decent internet. I don't know why it's let me turn up this volume.
Who's Andrea Botes?
Okay, so this is a chess streamer. She's a cutie, and she recently did some like boxing event as well, I think. But anyway, let's So what was the question, by the way? How would you approach this set where the girls are busy? Okay.
Oh.
You're absolutely beautiful. Can I get your number?
Sorry, I'm too busy
Excuse
being a
you?
dictator, but thank you.
Well, he tries to immediately go for the clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. About
Promising
communism.
better salaries.
About better salaries?
Yes.
Ah.
Because that's going to solve all of the problems
Wait,
of
but
communism.
I thought dictators didn't care about that stuff.
No, they don't. Probably you wouldn't have raised the salaries.
Sorry. I'll leave you alone.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, weirdo.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. So talking about creepy, it's a fucking great example, right? Like these okay, these girls are streaming right now. They're like Twitch streamers. They're streaming. Looks like they're like got some other girl, maybe that they're interviewing or going around with. Or maybe she's like a tour guide. Who fucking knows, right? But they're essentially streaming, and some guy just comes up like, "Hey, can I get your number?" Not like he didn't even wait to get their attention. Like, even if you're gonna be crazy and just ask for a number out of fucking nowhere, you'd at least say, "Hey, excuse me," right? Get their fucking attention first. It's the weirdest shit to just go off and be like, "Hey, da 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 da," like whatever the da 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 is. Hey, excuse me, guys. Turn around, get their attention. Look, I gotta run, but I think you're incredibly beautiful, and I want to quickly grab your number. Right? If that's how you're gonna do it, because then she can be like, "Sorry, I'm whatever jerk she said. I'm fucking learning." I don't know what she said, right? But then you can bounce, okay? But you don't want to go up and just ask for a number, right? It's awful fucking game. Just why don't you add an extra 2 minutes in front of that, actually build some value and give her a reason to give you the number. So that's how I would have approached it. Like
he didn't even run an interaction.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's also a group set, and I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't know the context here. But you'd actually want to go over and actually speak to the group as well. And so I'd say, hey guys, look, can I be honest with you real quick? Hey, what's up? I think your friend here is so fucking adorable, right? That's how I'd open. That's what I'd go about it. But yeah, this is a bit fucking weird.
Yeah. I mean, there was no interaction. It's just like, hey, hard close.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Mark, what would you do if you say a joke and the girl just looks at you as though that's a weird thing to say? It's a shit test sort of way. I mean, it depends what you're saying, right?
Maybe it was weird.
Needs some context here. Now, maybe you make like a sexual joke, or maybe I make like a joke that's offensive to her. So, you know, maybe she brings up women and I'm like, yeah, they should all be in the fucking kitchen, right? Why are there so many women out tonight? Like, do they not have anything to cook, right? Maybe that's the attempt at a joke I make. She doesn't find it very funny because it's slightly insulting to her. In this case, usually the excuse I have and the reframe I use is I'm Australian, right? Especially if I'm overseas. I'm like, look, I'm fucking Australian. I don't know. This is what we joke about, right? Or I will say, like, if I'm in Australia, I'll be like, look, I fuck around a lot, okay? It's just a joke. Chill, right? That's what I'll do. Now, it's very rare girls actually going to shit test you in this way. Usually it's because she doesn't find it funny or she finds it a little bit offensive. Now, there might be sometimes I'll give you where like a bratty girl where you say a joke, she's usually not going to look at you like that's weird. She's going to be like, haha, that's not funny. She'll usually laugh it a little bit first and say, that's not funny or some shit like that. That would be what I consider more of a shit test. This sounds a little bit more real. Curious about the Todd V Hinge date. Yeah, let's do that next time, boys. We got a couple of things. We got some Chinese Canadian dude Infield. We got some Todd V Hinge date. We have my Tinder breakdown or like Tinder live stream. So we got a few content pieces coming up, it looks like. So we'll get to all those. I'm opposite of dominant. I'm Korean, but I've seen most content here is for dominant guy. Do I have to do things differently or force myself to be dominant more? Okay, listen, you are a dominant guy, okay? I don't want to hear the bullshit. You're Korean. You're not dominant. You're a dominant man. Okay. It's inside of you. It's in there. You just need to learn how to express it. Okay. So go to my video on, I think it's literally called How to Be More Dominant. It's in this,
I'll link it actually.
Channel, right? There you go. Alex is going to link it. Go through because guess what? I wasn't a guy that if you met me, you would have described as dominant at all. Right, many years ago. So it's something that can be learned and can be expressed. We all have dominance inside of us. It's on my bucket list to try AMOGU. Lol. Have you ever had Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Like, especially students, I usually encourage it. If you ever see me, feel free to come AMOG me, of course. Is missionary plus doggy plus gargoyle the three best positions for versions of anybody counts? Sure. Cowgirl, I probably wouldn't put in there because I feel like I like to be the one in control. But, dude, you could just do missionary, right? You don't even need a dog. Like, if you're new to sex, just do missionary, but try and mix it up a little bit within that position. So there are like 7 different ways I can fuck missionary that is going to like change angles, change how it feels, change the context or like energy that she's feeling. So it could be me having my hand wrapped around her throat and like leaning on her. It could be me sitting back playing with a clit. So a lot of guys, when they think about sex, they always think about positions as if like changing positions a lot is going to make sex amazing. It's not, okay? There's so many other things you need to worry about. Should I be faster or slower? Right? Should I, how does the girl like the emotional context? Does she like me talking dirty to her in a rough way? Does she like words of validation and admiration? Does she like to be choked? Does she want to be slapped? All these things are like way more important than how many different positions can I do. So I'd worry less about that. I'd worry more about the other things about it.
That's kind of similar to if guys think that the opener is the most important part of the interaction. That's pretty equivalent to thinking that the position is the most important.
Exactly. Can you do more infield breakdowns? Super valid. Yeah, sure. No worries.
Yes, we will.
What's the median age of the girls you guys bang? Do you have a spreadsheet with data? Do you feel like girls above a certain age or are less
21,
friends
22.
with benefits? Yeah, 21.2, then 20 to 24-year-olds. Yeah, my median age is going up, I'd say. Like, if you spoke to me maybe 2 years ago, it would have been incredibly low. Like, I barely fucked any girls over 25. Like, most of them are going to be like 18 to 22. That was like my typical age of girls I was fucking. It has gone up, I'd say, in the last like year or two, because of the things I'm valuing more in women, right? Before I very much valued like looks and yeah, looks essentially. Like, I just really loved like young women, right? Whereas now I am valuing a lot more like, how do I describe this even? I like to have girls around me that I can have really interesting conversations with and have like a very enjoyable experience around them. So, for instance, I like girls that are super intelligent and I can like have challenging ideas and conversations around that and like semi arguments essentially. That's something I really have, I guess, moved more to recently. Excuse me. And in terms of like friends with benefits, yeah, I think you'll generally find like girls that are like closer to their 30s typically are going to be more like longer term focused. But in my bias sample, not really. Like, if you ask me like what I actually thought from my sample of women, I have no problem having open relationships or friends with benefits with girls of like any age that I meet. But I'm sure in the general populations, if you just poll girls, you'll probably find girls that are a lot more older tend to say that they want like more longer term relationships. But the ability to have friends with benefits, I just haven't found changes with age personally. What do you think, Alex?
No, I don't think that changes. I mean, at least there's no obvious correlation. Maybe when it gets to the extreme, the fact that I'm calling like a 30 or 35-year-old extreme, but I'm like,
That's
okay, when they get a little bit like older, like 30, 35, girls are gonna start thinking about having kids. That's when might become a little bit more difficult. You still can, but more girls, they're gonna be more well, they're gonna want that more, obviously. So that changes, but other than that, same shit.
Oh wait, how do you appear as an authority in a subject or conversation you don't know much about?
Have you seen Donald Trump, bro?
Yeah,
Have you fucking seen Donald Trump? Hey, look, I know everything about fucking military. I know everything about game. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you see the fucking way he talks. Like, he is an amazing example of that. Even when he's actually talking about shit that he clearly has no idea about, he actually makes himself sound like he knows what he's talking about. So it's actually like a tonality thing, basically. But hey, if you want to see more of that, I would actually like look up some Donald Trump interviews. I think he is like the best at this shit. Also, the conversation doesn't necessarily have to revolve about things that you don't know much about. So, I like to really make the conversation about things that I am actually an authority on. I want to make it about relationships, about sexuality, right? And it's also going to be like the most optimal to move the interaction forward as well. So that is very convenient. So I mean that is a big reason why I make that such a big focus on my interaction, because that is where I have a lot of authority. It's very easy for me to display authority there, and it moves the interaction forward very easily, displays a lot of value that's going to be relevant for her. So, if she's talking about, for example, that let's say she is an architect or something, well, you don't need to necessarily make yourself sound like the world's biggest authority on architecture. You just change the topic to something that you actually fucking know something about. But I mean, there are other ways where Mark likes to do this thing where he's like, "What the fuck is that?" Like that kind of thing. So it doesn't sound like you're like absolutely like clueless. How exactly do you say that?
Yeah, the thing I think about here is, imagine like an interview, right? Think about your like night fucking shows, whatever they are. You can be an interviewer that has a lot of authority. So if a girl brings up fucking, I don't know, man, like something to do with, I'm trying to think of like a female topic here. I don't know, man. Something to do with like makeup or some shit. Oh, here's a good example: cars, right? I know nothing about fucking cars. I don't give a fuck about cars. But if there's a girl that's into cars and bring it up, I would say like that. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, tell me about it. Like, I don't know what this shit is. So I get her to explain it in a way where I'm still leading the conversation. I'm like, hang on, so it's this? Okay, cool. And then yeah, sure, you can change the topic. But yeah, I don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm sorry, look, I don't know much about cars, but like, could you explain that? It's like, that's not how I'm fucking doing it. The second point I just want to give before we move on is there's gonna be some topics that you should be an authority on. So if you're not now, learn, right? It's that simple. So if a girl brings up a topic and you don't know fuck all about it, then yeah, maybe you should become an authority on that. So a good example is like music. Music is something girls are going to bring up all the fucking time. Don't be that guy that is like, oh, I listen to anything and I don't know any music and I don't know. Like, start to have somewhat of a preference, start to have some idea about this. If it's anything around sexuality, right, you should know. For an example, like star signs was something that I learned a little bit about because it came up in like every fucking conversation with like a fucking young girl. So I became like an expert on star signs, right? So you can start to take topics that generally come up in conversation and then actually just become an expert on it. I have a girl under a sexual frame, haven't met yet. Respond to my story of me at the beach. Oh, I was just there. And I told her, unfortunate coincidence. I think I validated stripped her, but not sure. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what you're asking us, man.
Unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know what you expected to write back.
I mean, it could also be interpreted the other way. It's unfortunate that you just missed each other.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily.
So, boys, have you ever found a way to see a chick again if you couldn't perform well in bed because of alcohol? Yeah, I mean, dude, this is like a huge component of whether you're going to see her again or not, is sexual performance. So if you can't get hard, that's okay. You can still give a girl an amazing time without getting hard, right? Just fuck her like a lesbian, right? Just think about it that way. Is you can still give her an incredible time without getting your dick hard. But the other big thing here is everything else, all your other value, and not being too needy. So if you just had enough value and she's kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm going to see you again, giving her an amazing sexual experience is going to guarantee that. And the other way, if you have like all this value built up and she's like chasing you super hard and then you give her like shit sex, she'll probably still want to see you again. So it's like making sure these two are great. So if you've had problems around like not performing well because of alcohol, don't fucking drink. And then number two is like perform well despite that. And now if you're at a point where she's already decided she doesn't want to see you again, then it's a bit hard to try and recover from that, right? You're going to have to like start over and build a little bit more value through text or something. It's like, just don't fuck it up in the first place. It's like the answer here.
I mean, look, perform better in the morning or something. Wake up not drunk and perform better. But yeah, I mean, Mark is right. Like, don't perform bad in the first place. Like, if it is just because of alcohol, well, then just stay away from the alcohol. But if you can't perform even without alcohol, well, then you got to do some research.
Would you eat a girl out, or is that submissive, Alex?
Well, I will definitely fucking do it. But actually, I do think for some girls, it is going to be too submissive. So, for example, most Ukrainian girls, they're going to actually, like they will get turned off by a guy like trying to eat them out because they actually think it's too submissive. But that's like a very small percentage of girls that would actually think that, I don't feel too submissive eating a girl out. Absolutely not. I love it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you need to realize that the amount of girls that view it as a submissive act is so fucking tiny. So incredibly tiny. Like, I can probably name you like less than 10 girls that have like mentioned that to me. And yeah, Alex is right. Like, it's going to be skewed to like Eastern European girls quite a lot. So if you're in America, it's going to be like no girl that ever thinks is like too submissive for the most part. And you can make it dominant. Like, you can tie her up, pin her down, and be like, don't fucking move as you eat a pussy out, right? Like, you can turn it into a dominant act. But for these guys that are using this as an excuse, saying, oh, I feel like a pussy eating her out, she doesn't think that. Usually, clitoral stimulation is how the girls are going to feel the most pleasure, how they're going to come the easiest. And if you negate that and just think, oh, I'm just going to fuck her because I think I'm a pussy if I eat her out, you're going to miss out on so much pleasure, and this girl's not going to enjoy it as much. So keep that in mind. I would only ever not eat her out if she explicitly told you that she thinks it's submissive, or she just has a huge propensity towards like a huge amount of dominance. It's the only way I'd be thinking possibly that I might avoid eating a pussy because of that. Otherwise, Danny, get in there, be a man. All right. Any tips on controlling conversation threads? I think you mentioned this, Alex. You kind of just switch the topic, talk about what you want. Is shaving hands or forearms feminine? What do you think, Alex?
Not necessarily. I mean, I wouldn't look at a guy with shamed arms and be like, "Oh my god, what a fucking bitch," or like, "Oh my god, that guy's so feminine." I wouldn't think that, because I think at the end of the day, if you're gonna be perceived as masculine or feminine, it's mostly gonna be like a behavioral thing, right? So, I think you could actually, you could imagine like a very masculine fucking alpha guy, but he has like, perfect hair. Like clearly he takes like very good care of his hair. He's using like the fucking condition, like all of these expensive conditioners and shampoo and shit. And he's like very, very well groomed, but he's at the same time, he's super high T, super aggressive, super assertive, super dominant. You're not going to be like, oh my God, this guy is so fucking feminine, right? So I think we can't just look at one little thing, one little detail and just stop there. I think we need to look at the big picture here. Maybe I will go as far to say, like, maybe the act of shaving your forearms or hands, maybe that is a bit feminine actually, but that is not going to determine your overall perception. It's going to be how does everything come together at the end. That's the only thing that's going to matter, really. But if everything else you're doing is super feminine, but you're just not shaving your arms, it's not going to make you masculine either. So, I think big picture is what you're looking at here.
Yeah, gender norms are changing quite a lot, right? So the whole idea of like shaving for women is a societal gender norm that is like happened. I mean, women naturally have like hairy armpits, right? So I feel like there is also a shift in expectations from women to happening over time. Like a lot of the Eastern European girls that I meet love like a guy with a fucking hairy chest. But then a lot of the young Australian girls I meet like prefer like a shaved chest, for example. Now, shaved like forearms and hands is not really something I guess I've come across that I think girls prefer. But that might be the way they go. I mean, for me specifically, like I fucking have like hairless hands essentially. And yeah, I mean, it might look better on some guys to be like shaving, and it might not. So I think moving forward, you'll probably see more of it. As of now, like I don't think it's like particularly feminine. I don't think like a girl's gonna see a guy with like shaved forearms and hands and be like, "What the fuck? What a pussy!" But they might prefer a guy with like more hair and see it as like more masculine.
At the end of the day, his overall perception is gonna matter anyway.
Yeah, true.
Big picture.
Alex, you have a son. He's gonna be a machine. Agreed.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get into game. No, actually, even if I have a daughter, I'm gonna teach her game. Absolutely, man. It's almost more important for her to know it. So the most important thing is going to be her to teach which guys that she should go with, like which guys that she should like dismiss immediately. That type of shit. Even if I have a daughter, man, dude, she's gonna have an 18-year-long boot camp.
JJ slept with a girl last night in Canggu, Bali, and talked about dating. Showed her a UMP vid, and she said,
"Yeah, I mean that's pretty likely, right? That's pretty likely, actually."
She also slept with Alex. That's hilarious. That's funny. Eskimo bros. Okay.
I spent a lot of time in Bali, man. So that's actually very likely.
If I ask a girl, "What do you study?" and she gives a basic response like maths, English, business, law, how do you guys respond? Is there any way to maybe DHV? Or make her qualify or something? Yeah. Okay. So my typical default response, if you don't know what to say when a girl responds, is simply, "Oh, do you like it?" So it's like this curious, quizzical look of, "Oh, it sounds pretty fucking shit. Like, why are you doing that for? That
But
tends
they
to get her to clarify. Yeah, and it tends to get her to quickly ask you what you do, because there's a very defensive, well, what do you do? And then you can DHV. Now, that's like a basic default answer. You can also now start thinking about DHVs either on the spot or like in hindsight that you can start using for certain things. So, for example, like law, that maybe you can go into how people that study law, they tend to be very like dominant, confident women, and hence like a very
Yes.
dominant and confident guy, and they tend to want to be able to lose control outside of their job. That's something you could
Yes.
run. Could be something simple like maths. Oh, my ex studied math, right? Have some pre-selection. So there are different ways you can DHV on that topic. But as a default, if you're not sure, do you like it?
Yeah, sometimes if I'm just lazy, I'll be like, oh, fuck yeah, that's cool. It's very different to what I do. Oh, what do you do? DHV.
Is it okay to make a breakfast the next day after sex?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'd be careful. Be careful. Like if this is a girl, like it's like the first night you slept with her, and then you're like waking her up the next morning, you've like cooked a breakfast or some shit. Like it can feel a little bit too much and a bit too needy, and you're gonna lose some of the mystery that you might have created, and it's gonna maybe feel like you're chasing a little bit. So if this is like the third, fourth time you meet her or some shit, like of course no problem. Like if you want to fucking have breakfast, or she wakes up and he's like, "Yo, before I leave, I'm starving. Do you have any food in the house?" And like you fucking make a
Nah,
cereal or
you're
something.
gonna
It's
starve.
fine.
You're
Yeah,
gonna starve.
fine.
Yeah.
But there's a difference if a girl like wakes up the next day, was like, "Hey, that was fun last night. Okay, take care." And then you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, wait, do you want to have some breakfast?" Like you're gonna sound a little bit chasey. So it depends on the context and the way you go about it.
Yeah, there's a difference if you try to like make her this fucking big grand fucking breakfast in bed thing, or if you're just like, you know, you wake up in the morning, you know, you go to the kitchen, you make coffee, and you fucking start cooking eggs for yourself, and you're like, hey, do you want some? It's yeah.
Cool. It's a long road home. Would you recommend fully shaving before sex or not? I assume he means
Like
genitals there, pubic hair.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a personal preference. I think you don't have to go like completely, like you don't have to go completely clean, but I think it should always be trimmed.
Yeah, I agree. I try to not shave before sex because like then it gets like rashed up.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
I feel like fucking and like grinding and shit. Like it gets a little bit like rashy. So
but also for the girl.
Yeah. So I typically wouldn't just before sex, but yeah, as Alex said, I always want to be trimmed.
Yeah,
it just looks more hygienic. Girls have a preference for it, and your dick will look bigger. Is it okay? Oh yeah, we answered that. Oh wait, hang on. Is that the same question? Yeah, same question. All right, let's we'll do 2 more questions and we'll bounce. If you have very low self-esteem but other people tell you you're good looking, what do you recommend? I mean, it depends why you have low self-esteem. I mean, any amount of like external validation of people validating your looks is not going to like fix your self-esteem issue. It's just not the solution. Like if you're even building your self-esteem on your looks, that's also an issue. So you need to start asking yourself, what is valuable within your life? Start to appreciate that. And you may need to ask friends actually what is valuable in your own life, because sometimes you're blinded to it. Then you're gonna have to start building on that, like building on your actual strengths, continuing to like have a purpose in your life, build up your career, have more friends and social interactions, do gratitude exercises, meditate. Like all these things are going to slowly build up the way you like self-perceive, and it's going to come from an internal place where you don't need to rely on it from the external, because that's not actually ever going to give you a proper self-confidence, right? So it's a really quick answer to a very like deep, complex topic.
Yeah, it's also an interesting question, because he's saying that he has low self-esteem, but the way the question is framed, it looks like it's only linked to his looks. But he's also not saying that he's insecure about his looks. So it's that part is a little bit confusing to me. So I mean, if that is the case, then it sounds like pretty much what Mark just said, that you're basing your entire sense of self on your looks, which is not the best thing to to base your sense of self on.
All right, let's do the last question. Alex, you did some MMA or Muay Thai, right? Did
Yeah.
your dominance start to increase when you started sparring?
No,
and fighting?
no, I don't think that had any correlation whatsoever. I think a big correlation with that was literally just practice the behavior. Like, no, like I don't think that helped with that. I don't. Like I really enjoyed doing. I think it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed the training and everything. But in terms of like social dominance, no, I really don't think it did. What helped improving social dominance was going out every day and interacting and practicing. So
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks to Ryan and who else said the donor?
Stefan, $10.
Oh, Stefan. Yeah, that's right.
$10.
Thanks,
That's a
guys.
beer for you.
If any of you guys aren't in the Mastermind, as we said, 2-week free trial. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next lives. We're going to do a Tinder live. We're going to do the Canadian Chinese Elite Dude breakdown and also the Todd V date on something or other, right?
Todd V, Top G.
Top G. All right, guys.
V.
Love you all.
All right.
Chat soon. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. All right. Peace out, Mark.